Hi, everyone. I'm Dave Shore, and welcome to the 3-1 Group as we talk about our thoughts and lessons on sales, marketing, and leadership. I welcome in my fellow 3-1 Group mates, and that's Mike Morgan and Kevin Kolbe. Guys, I've got an article that we tossed around to each other this week, and that is from the great Jeff Bezos, the head of Amazon, in a 2016 annual shareholder letter. He wrote, quote, most decisions should probably be made with somewhere around 70% of the information you wish you had. And if you wait for 90% in most cases, you're probably being slow. When you hear that, what's your reaction?
Well, if we weren't going through the thing we're going through now, I'd probably give him a big hug. I know, speaking for experience, I have, and I hope I wasn't the cause of it, but I've been in that culture where we've got to have 100%. We've got to, and it gets so overthought that you just, what's the phrase? There's that paralysis by analysis.
Yeah.
And if anybody can guarantee 100% on anything, then first of all, they'd win all the lotteries, they'd have all the money, and they would be the only person anybody was listening to. So yeah, I absolutely 100% agree with Bezos on that.
I live by the rule. In fact, 70% is fairly generous. You know, I'm more of the, if I can get 50% of the idea and 50% of the information and get started, I figure, you know, I can figure it out along the way. I think the opportunity and mistake that most people make in business, whether it's a corporate structure or, you know, doing something on your own, is you, as Kevin alluded to, you paralysis by analysis, or waiting until you think you have everything prepared. I've always found that it's much better to get a general idea. You know, if you've got a good idea, good intentions, and some general understanding what it is you're trying to do, get started, and you can always change course. But, you know, you can't change course on something that you haven't started. And almost for sure, you will not be headed in the same direction at the end of your journey that you were at the beginning of the journey. So it's kind of silly to think that you're going to be able to solve all the problems and have all the answers to what you're trying to accomplish before you've done the first thing. That just, in my practical experience, it's never been the case.
You know what I immediately thought of when I read the article was that it hits all three areas that we talk about here, and that is sales, marketing, and leadership. Because, Mike, as you said, so sometimes you can get away with less than that. But I think that the reason why it's a common denominator among all three of them is it's going to limit your chance of success if you wait too long. And I know we've all worked together at times, and I know that in years and years in the communication business, Mike, I saw that the salespeople would not be successful if they waited to go out the door until they had everything that we possibly had on their menu of opportunities to sell, either in communications or anything. So, and to me, leaders, if you're looking at your leader to have all the information before they make a decision, we won't get anything done.
Yeah, look, I think on the sales side, you know, one of the mistakes we can make, but also one of the, I think, real values that we can provide is to sell something that we believe fully we can achieve, but haven't actually developed yet. You know, and Dave, you know, when you and I worked together, I'm sure there were some times where I pitched a client an idea that I felt pretty sure you could make the magic happen and bring to life, but you didn't even know about it yet. So, you know, I think if you understand the capabilities of your organization or your company or whatever it is, you know, there's a lane on which you can get too far outside of, and you know, at that point you're being irresponsible in what you're trying to present or trying to do. But, you know, I believe that solutions are created by necessity, and sometimes necessity is if you get started and have a great idea and present something, or you try something, you figure out how to get it done. I mean, that's you know, I think that's human nature in a lot of cases.
And I think too, that was a lot of what he was saying in the article, is that, you know, these companies that they're so hesitant because they just need a little bit more information, that they end up doing nothing, you know. And so even if we just take it to a personal brand and whatever it is we're working with, you know, sales or marketing or leadership or whatever it is, it's that you're never going to have probably all the information you need to, but you may have enough information to try. I mean, I was just watching an interview with Mark Cuban, and he was like, just keep trying things and keep failing until you find the one thing that works. And my gut is there's a lot of things that he has tried that he didn't have all the information on, but there's a freeing thing to say, well, let's just see where this goes. And then we can course correct rather than, well, we've got all the information. Now let's go into it. And by then the opportunity may be gone.
Yeah. And I think that what's interesting, well, I was just going to say what's interesting is let's say you're watching this and you're an entrepreneur, you got an idea, and let's say you want to go to the next step and you want to pitch to all three of us your particular idea. Well, you know what? You're not going to have all that information together. You're going to have so many unknown factors that if you wait and you get yourself into that paralysis by analysis, you're not going to be ready, and you're going to throw us stuff that you're going to still have so many question marks that you're not going to feel confident yourself. But if you're thinking, you know what, I've got enough to where we can get this thing going, and I think this idea is going to click because of blank, 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 well, then you're going to sound a lot more confident to us.
Yeah, it's like there's a theory in, a practice in marketing. It's called A/B testing or split testing, where you have a good idea of, let's say you're trying to sell your product, and you send two different messages out to the same type of people. Because you don't know what message, what trigger is going to respond, what's going to trigger the action that you're looking for, what words, what combination of images. You're constantly having to test in a live scenario, and pretty much every marketer in the country does that. I think that's a good analogy for how you launch a business or how you grow a business or start a business or scale a business is, you got to have a pretty good idea of what you're trying to accomplish. Yeah. And then I think you have to start trying things, and the things that are working will readily show themselves. The things that aren't will not, they'll show themselves as well. And you just shed those and keep doing more of the stuff that is working, less of the stuff that isn't. And eventually you get that bullseye plan that you're looking for. But I've never been involved with a business that did the bullseye out of the gate. Like, we had it all figured out, and all we had to do was turn the lights on and it was over.
Well, and I would think too that if and I didn't think about this, so you were saying that, but if you feel like, okay, I've got to have 100%, I've got to have all the information before I jump in, you haven't left yourself really any room to change and pivot and adapt, because here's the plan. Oh crap. I didn't think about that, because you can't think about everything. And so then you just get stuck in it, and it probably does fail, and you just go, oh, well, and you don't try anything else.
Let me give you a real practical example that I've got a client has experienced. So let's say you're starting a carpet cleaning business in February of 2020, and in the middle of March 2020, COVID hits. Well, your cleaning business is probably not the highest in-demand service, but you've developed and probably purchased at this point equipment that can transport stuff that cleans to people's homes or businesses. Well, if your business plan was, if you spent 6 years trying to figure out how can I have the best cleaning business, and you launched on February the 1st of 2020, you're screwed. You're probably out of business. If, however, you wanted to be in the in-home services business and your model was cleaning carpets, and on March the 31st, you said, man, I think I can get this, COVID cleaning solution certification and retool my trucks and get that out. You built the infrastructure. You thought you had a plan, but all of a sudden you've got a completely different plan, and now it's a viable plan. And on the back of COVID, you've got two plans. You can still sanitize offices and homes, but you can also clean them. So I think it's an example of, I don't care what the best laid plans are. You never know what's going to happen.
Well, guys, I think it's perfect. I think we all agree that don't wait until you have all the information before you're ready to go. And when we tape this, we've all gone through a time period of COVID where there is no precedence, and everyone is trying things and trying to pivot and adapt as well. Well, thanks so much, guys. It's been fun to talk about this topic. And for all of you, please hit subscribe, because we've got more fascinating conversations to come. Yeah, just hit that subscribe button right down there, and you can join us for more of our episodes of the 3-1 Group. Thanks so much.